Ladies and gentlemen, get ready to embark on a journey like no other. Welcome to the Glum Lot Podcast,
your go-to destination for a unique blend of recovery and discovery.
I'm Brett.
And I'm Mark. And in this podcast, we will endeavor to create a safe and uplifting space for our guests and listeners to share their stories with sincerity and a touch of humor.
Remember, we are not a Glum Lot. The Glum Lot Podcast is more than just a source of entertainment. It's a beacon of hope, proving that even in the darkest moments, recovery is possible. Every story we share carries the power to inspire positive change.
So buckle up, get ready to listen, and join us in discovering the strength that lies within every individual's journey. This is the Glum Lot Podcast, where humor meets hope. Hey, Brett.
Hi.
Hey, episode 103.
It is.
What's going on?
Just living life.
Living large.
Going through some changes, doing a little thing for the new year, a little diet stuff. But
yes.
Other than that, pretty good.
The only guarantee in life is change.
It's
right?
true. It's how we embrace it.
So I want to remind our listeners to please join our Facebook group.
Yeah, that.
Yeah, the Glum Lot Podcast on Facebook. And if you have any comments, questions, you want to be on the show, email us at glumlotpodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah, we'd love that.
Bing,
if you
bong,
know
bing,
anybody.
bong, bing.
Yeah.
So today I was thinking about, I got a new guy. He's got out of rehab. And he was doing really good for a couple days.
Yeah, we both got new guys, right?
Yeah,
From that same kind of cohort that we spoke at.
And then I've been calling and texting, and he's been calling me, and it's been great. And then he kind of there was radio silence.
Some ghosting, yeah.
Yeah, and so I text him in silence, and the next day I text him in silence. So I know,
Right.
I know
right.
it. I know what's going on.
So did he answer?
On the third day I said, look, if you went out, you went out and used or drank, that's done.
Yeah.
I said, but the people who are successful are the people who come back. So, yeah, if you screwed up, you got to come back.
Sure.
And
now, did he go to any meetings?
Oh, yeah, he went to meetings, I think, every day.
Oh, so he was pretty heavy right off the bat.
Yeah, he was doing well. And then something happened,
I wonder if he felt okay.
He felt okay, probably.
Oh, yes.
And then finally I heard from him this morning. And he was like, I was a little nervous to call you, but yeah, I went out.
Thank God.
And quickly, things went to shit.
Yeah? Oh, what?
Yeah.
I'm shocked.
Very quickly. And so, my thing to him was like, well, the important thing is to come back. I did the same thing you did more than once. And it's not uncommon at all.
Right.
The important thing is to come back.
Right. And you tell that to people all the time.
Yeah. And so he's going to supposedly meet me tonight at a meeting and raise his hand and say he's coming back. In my case, once was not enough. I had to do that 6 times in succession before I was finally beaten down enough to hear the message.
So what was your feeling the first time you went back out?
My feeling was...
you had been to some meetings?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I had been, I was a maintenance drinker that drank every day. So I went to my first meeting, and I was lucky to meet my sponsor on the first day, and he was a very hands-on guy. He gave me a big book. He called me every day. Well, I wish. He took me to lunch meetings, and so I hadn't drank for 7 days.
Okay.
In a row, and I was just like, this AA shit is fucking great.
Right. Right.
And on day 8, I felt like, I'm probably good.
Yeah.
Right now.
I'm on the other side.
Yeah, just for a day.
Yeah.
I'm going to take a day off. And then the worst thing that could have happened. Nothing happened. And I was like, oh, see, I was fine.
True.
Then I start thinking, I kind of got this.
Well, yeah.
And so the next day, I didn't go to a meeting either. And then on day 3, life struck. Like, my old drinking friends called me and said, we're going out. And I was like, well, I'm in AA now, and I don't drink. And they were like, well, okay, just come out and drink soda.
Yeah, and that's it.
And to which I said, that's a great idea.
Yep.
Now, here's what I didn't know. I didn't know that I was completely defenseless against alcohol. And to put myself in with people, places, and things, in this case, all 3, there was no way I was going to survive this without drinking. No way.
Yep.
But I didn't know that. And I didn't call my sponsor because I didn't want him to know I was going out to a bar.
Oh, heck no,
Because
right?
he didn't understand how good I was.
Correct.
And I went to the bar and I ordered a soda. And immediately the old feelings came back. The feelings of I have to drink, I don't have a choice.
Yeah.
And everything around me just kind of dropped
peculiar
away.
twist that
and that
happens.
tunnel vision to the
Yep.
bottles behind the bar. And I knew.
The obsession
I
took over.
knew I was done. So I ordered the drink and
Yeah.
I got drunk. And I
You mean you just didn't have one?
yeah, I did, and then I had another one, and then I had another one.
Yeah.
And then when the next day I called my sponsor,
Yeah.
and I'm like, yeah, and I told him what happened. He's like, I told you that shit happens.
But you called your sponsor that quickly. That's
I
crazy.
did,
Yeah.
I did, because I
Were you feeling pretty
realized.
bad?
No, he was kind of like, yeah, I get it.
No,
you know?
I mean, were you feeling pretty bad about?
Oh, was I feeling pretty bad?
about what you had done or what had happened?
I felt like, I didn't know that was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not really, that's not really on me. I was a victim. I played the victim.
Of course.
The second, third, fourth, and fifth, and sixth times, I really couldn't do that. But
Gotcha.
But anyways, the thing is, I came back.
Yeah.
And I raised my hand. I think that's important that when people come back, they don't pretend.
Yeah.
It's honest, open, and willing. And
Well,
to thine own self be true, man. You got to raise your hand and say, I didn't do what was suggested, and I got the results that people told me I would. And God, I can't believe it.
Yeah, right.
know?
But it's also a caution, right? It's the caution of you will feel pretty good pretty quickly, and your confidence will come about you.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden,
Yes.
and that's why we see so many of them, right? Many of them.
Here's the thing. If you struggled with alcohol and addiction for a long time, and then you finally find something that gets you results, and you practice that for a few days, and you don't use or drink, you're like, this is fantastic.
Yeah.
And you feel like, all right, I heard what they said. I put it into practice.
It's a new leaf.
I'll just keep doing that.
Yep.
But this program is not learned from a book, really. I mean, we have a book.
Careful.
Well, if that's all it took,
definitely.
there'd be a lot of sober
Absolutely.
people walking around Barnes and Noble.
Absolutely.
But it's the experience and the fellowship and the steps and the one-on-one, and it's a million little things that you don't know you need, and you don't feel them working, yet they're working.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is those results masquerade as cured.
Yep.
And for people like me, I had to experience more pain to learn deep down in my gut, in my being, that this is what I needed to do on a regular basis, or I could not stay sober.
And how powerful it is what you have.
Right, and I would not stay sober by myself.
Correct.
At that point, and I think what happened with my friend here this morning, I talked to it this morning, I think he felt like he could stay sober by himself now.
Yeah.
Because I've been to some meetings and I've heard some truth.
Yeah.
So, diligence. I don't think anybody could have taught me what I learned through going out.
Yeah.
I was just very fortunate that I, one, survived, and two, didn't do anything that really changed my life completely, like kill someone or get in an arrest. I was able to just, my higher power looked out for me, and I was guided back into the solution.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Be careful.
Gonna meet up with them tonight, and I'm hoping for the best. And
Yeah.
boy, wouldn't it be great if a year from now we could have him on the show?
All right.
If he can get some sobriety under his belt.
That's the goal.
This there are no guarantees in this program, none at all. There are no guarantees other than we have today.
Correct.
That's it, and even that sometimes is tenuous. So, anyway, let's get to our guest. He comes to us from our last guest, who had a great experience here and said, I got the guy for you. And
Beautiful.
I spoke with him, and he's here today. So let's welcome Ian. Welcome to the Glum Lot Podcast, Ian.
How's it going, guys?
Good. Glad to have you here.
Glad to be here.
Would like to start with your sobriety date.
Okay, my name's Ian. I'm an alcoholic, and my sobriety date is July 7th, 2019.
He might be the first guest that's ever started like that.
I think we had one other person.
Did we?
Yeah, I do.
Well, I guess he goes to meetings regularly. It's
I guess.
You got to love that guy that just starts blurting out.
Yeah.
and they're
No,
like,
that's great.
Hi, Brett. How are you?
Yeah, right.
So we like to start with your first experiences, probably as a young person with drugs and or alcohol, the effects thereof.
Yeah, all
Yeah.
the details.
All the greatest hits album is what I call it.
okay.
It's my greatest hits album.
Ooh, let's
Until I
hear it.
came to AA, and then I got the greater hits album. That was
true,
even better.
true.
So, no, I'm kind of a weirdo. There was no alcohol in my house
Mm-hmm.
growing up. My parents were not drinkers. They were teetotalers. They were Methodists, and
Same.
everything was very dry, and so it was not much of a party atmosphere, with one exception, my brother. He's 6 years older than me, and he had the life. He had the girlfriends. He had all the friends, and I just idolized this guy.
I'll
He-
just be him.
yeah, he was amazing.
Teach me.
Yeah, and he had the velvet posters of Kiss. And
Nice.
this was
Yes.
the height of
Blacklight.
sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
his,
yeah.
His room, you came anywhere near his room, he'd kill you. He was very,
Yep.
It was his cave.
yeah.
Which
so,
made it even better.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we'd sneak in and try not to get caught. But so I idolized him, and our house was the party house for his friends. They'd come over after school and wreak havoc, and they'd eat all the food. And we were just told not to tell our parents what was happening. So we did.
So the Methodists weren't home when
Yeah,
this was going on.
they were both teachers. So they.
Oh,
from
my
between-
God, dude, you're telling my
Oh
story
yeah.
here.
Oh yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah, very, latchkey kid coming home. Nobody's home except for my brother having parties and whatever else. And I wanted that. I thought that was my gateway. I was like, I'm gonna get cool like my brother. I'm gonna,
Yeah.
And so I'm 13 years old, and he comes to me. He's like, "Here, hop in the car. We're gonna go for a drive." I'm like, well, this is cool. I'm in finally.
Are we gonna rob a bank?
Yeah, like what's going to happen, right? That's it. So, we head out. We do a little hike. Now this is November. It's cold as hell outside, and we start getting high. It's my first time, and I loved it.
So
I
you're in the
loved
car driving. What, does he pull out a joint or something?
Yeah, no, he had a bowl. He actually gave me my first bowl that day.
Oh,
so
wow.
not only was I in, but he gave me a gift. So it was like this.
What?
Yeah,
What did it look like?
It was a soapstone kind of small bowl, and we packed that thing several times. We're walking around the park at night, and I am just. It's a double whammy. I'm like loving the fact that I'm finally connecting with my brother, and I'm kind of in, and we're having this deep. Of course, everything's deep when you're high like that. Everything's like, oh, this is so intense, And so we're going around, and I loved it. I absolutely loved the feeling. I loved that. It was the first time I really felt cool and like I belonged somewhere. Like this is my club. I'm in. This is cool. And then of course we finished that. He drives home. He's driving my mom's car. And he pulls in the driveway. He's like, "All right, get out. I'm going to go hang out with my girlfriend."
Damn.
So I have to go back in and face my parents
Ooh.
in this shape that I'm in.
That happened to me too.
It's so crazy, right?
Yeah.
So that experience when you're drunk or high, and you've been outside, you're freezing your ass off, but you don't know it because you're high, you're stoned, you're drunk, you don't think about it. Yeah. I walked into that house, and it was like, I could feel every joint in my body, and it was like robotic going into the house.
And so, same exact thing happened to me in the winter. And I remember thinking, I think they know.
Yeah. Oh, the paranoia is
how can I make them not know?
I just had, my eyes looked like lips. And they're like freaking so big. They're like glued together. And they're like, "Oh, did you have a good time?"
Oh, hell yeah.
You have no fucking clue.
Oh, my God. And my mom had made shake and bake pork chops that night. And
Best
I
ever.
sat down, and I'm scraping the shit off the bone. I'm like devouring everything. The munchies are kicking in. But that was the
Good night.
That was the beginning for me, and from that point on, I was seeking out other people that were doing that.
You were chasing that feeling again.
I wanted
Find
that
your
all
people,
the time.
you find your people.
Oh yeah, they were all the same kids from the neighborhood that were smoking, druggies, drinking.
It is interesting. When you're young like that, and you're kind of trying to find your way.
Yeah.
And you look up to your brother and you think, okay, that's cool. That's cool enough for me. I want to be like that. And then you start building on that. And then you start looking for people that are in that. And it really is a culture. At least it was when I was growing up.
Yeah.
And, you're like, I don't want to be like the jock. I want to be the party guy. That's that I can do that.
Yeah.
I can pull that off.
Yeah, and that was my experience too. And then I didn't start actually drinking until high school, middle of high school, because I was on the lacrosse team.
Oh yeah.
And those guys
You had
were
to
drinkers.
perform.
They weren't smokers. They were drinkers. So we would have 40s. We'd have everything before and after practice. And so I was getting the best of both worlds. 'Cause then I started really liking drinking. That was great. So I was doing both now. And I would get to a certain point in whatever partying where I just became an all events player. I didn't matter.
You know
I
what's
was starting
funny?
to do it.
I have teenagers, and they one day my daughter was like, "Yeah, he was crossed." I'm like,
What does that mean?
Yeah, what do you mean? Crossed, and I'm like, was he angry? Was he super religious? She's like, no, he was high and drunk. I'm like, oh, we used to just say high and drunk.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
He's crossed.
Yeah.
So I got to learn the lingo. Yeah, and everything comes through vapes now.
Yeah.
No,
I mean, they can do, they've broken it down to a science where I don't, if I had this, what's available now.
And the
at that
strength.
if I had, I would be bored with it.
Yeah.
Because this was simple. You got an ounce of brickweed and you're happy.
Yeah.
You didn't
Yeah.
need the CBD and all these
right.
things
Yeah,
broken
yeah.
There's a
down
lot of
and all these
shit going
devices.
on, yeah. It
You know,
wouldn't
if
be-
I had a hot knife, I was happy.
It would not
Get
be
some
good
hot-
for
You know what I mean? Jesus. These kids
So
taste.
you described the elation you felt when you first got high, not only because of the effects of the THC, but just the rite of passage and the coolness of it. But what about booze? Now, when you felt that buzz,
That was, every concern I had for the day was gone. This is all I have to do now. Is just sit back, drink this, and I was funny. I could do whatever the hell I wanted. There was just all that anxiety,
Freedom.
anything that was holding me back was gone.
yeah,
As soon as
the
I-
effects of alcohol, on just any human, but especially on us, is just so
Profound.
it's so fucking attractive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I can see how we get sucked in. I remember it too. That
Oh, my
the
God.
first time that I felt like every nerve ending relax for the first time in my life,
Yeah.
and I felt good about me, and I felt like I could pretty much do anything and not have to worry about it. It's like I'm really big on the morning prayer in AA, and it talks about let me be free from, and it was like self-doubt. Okay, when I drank, that was eliminated. Anything that has to do with inhibition, doubt, thoughts of failure, those all just disappeared for me when I drank. Well, now that I don't drink, my spiritual connection is where I get that from, and it's real. When I drank, it wasn't real. It was
Right.
masked.
Right, and it was
But-
the same thing for me. I had those expectations that I always had of being perfect and everything that my parents had to make sure I felt all the time, right? And so,
a lot of pressure.
yeah, oh my God, it was all about appearances. And so when I did that with other people, I didn't have those worries that I always had in the back of my head, right? It just kind of let me go.
Oh yeah. No,
Yeah.
I definitely spent the better part of my life, I would say the last 20 to 25 years from the age of 13, chasing that.
Right.
Yes.
I wanted that high and that thing that I didn't realize was so available in AA.
Yeah, right.
Like
Yeah.
once you do this work, it's at your fingertips. Like you said with the morning
Right, it becomes
prayer.
a part of your life, a part of
That's-
your being.
Right. And
We don't
becomes
know
easier
that.
and easier, I find.
Nobody told me that when I
Yeah.
was 13. Nobody said, well,
Right.
you don't need to do this.
Right.
I've got this other way.
Yeah.
No, that never happened. So you're in high school, you're on a lacrosse team, you're drinking, smoking, any other drugs?
I started using psychedelics.
Okay.
I did like I liked smoking cocaine, but that was a brief period because they told me that if I did that, I could just keep drinking. So it was
right.
it was like
Yeah.
you never get that slouchy drunkenness. You're going to keep
Right.
going.
You may grind your teeth down to nubs.
Yes,
But-
yes, there were some bad side effects there. But
So
yeah,
you're doing all the typical
Yeah.
fucking party
Yeah.
shit. And you're
Well,
you're a cool guy, you know?
I was cool except for when you got to my grades.
Yeah.
I was
You
going to
know,
say, are there any consequences going on?
I barely got out of high school.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I barely got. I mean, I had I was hoping to go to college, and I completely screwed that up.
Now, were your parents aware of what was going on?
They were,
Like, why are you failing?
yeah. They thought I wasn't applying myself. They say
Yeah.
that I was hanging out with the wrong kids.
And they're not wrong.
Yeah.
Yep.
But
True.
there was never this confrontation where, you're really partying too much. Because
Right.
I was really good at hiding it.
Mm-hmm.
so I
We
thought.
are very good salespeople.
Have you ever had the experience where now you go
Mm-hmm.
back to, you're with your folks and you say, Dad, you remember that time where I took the car and you didn't know where the hell I was? My parents are in denial about that shit.
Come on, man.
Completely in denial. Like, no, you were a good kid.
I
Dad,
was-
I stole the goddamn car.
Yeah, I told my
Like,
mom
it-
that I was gone all over the
Yeah.
area that we live in, and she was like, "That's not true. You're making that up." And I'm like,
Where did
Right.
that cigarette hole come from for
Oh,
the
geez.
driver's seat? How did
You're
that
right.
happen? I don't know, Mom.
"Yeah, totally."
Yeah, but
Oh,
they,
that's
they don't
crazy.
want to talk about it now.
No.
But fast forward to last summer,
Mm-hmm.
my dad, out of the blue, completely out of the blue. And again, I don't get sober for anybody else. This
Yep,
is for me.
it
This
is.
is a inside job. I'm sitting on the porch with my parents, and they're like, we're really glad you stuck with AA.
Hmm.
And I'm like, out of nowhere. Like, where did that come from?
Interesting.
A validation I was not looking for, but there it was.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I think sometimes part of it is that almost imperceptible to us, the way we are with people changes and becomes better.
That's
and
true.
sometimes
I've
people
experienced
see that. Like I've seen it in people that I've sponsored. I've seen it in people in the program where you're like, you're a different person than when you came in. And sometimes it's like the goodness of a person. I just had this experience the other day that they just have a really good vibe
Yep.
and a really good way of operating. And you're like, that's fucking great.
I get that a lot at work.
That's what
Yep.
people, and
Yeah.
people are attracted to that.
You're not asking for it.
No.
You're
No.
not looking out and saying,
It's who you
validate
are.
me.
It's
I
my
got
new
sober.
state. Yeah.
Give me the star chart.
Oh, no.
I want to
God,
see
no.
the star because,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
got 3 months. I got
No.
a year or whatever. But it happens kind of quietly like that, and it comes through your behavior, like you were
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, I'm just different now. And I love that. I love the
Yep.
new me.
And I can see it, why your parents, even though they may have said, well, you really weren't that bad, or,
Yeah.
we're glad you stopped drinking, but that's not a big deal. But they just are happy with the
changed.
person you are,
Yeah.
which is pretty cool.
It's that psychic change.
So you're pumping
College?
along. Yeah, you get out of high school. What do you do?
I was going to go to a pricey university at the time. They maintained my acceptance. So I was able to go, but my parents saw how badly I was messing up. They said, "Listen, you're going to go to this community college. You're not
Probably a
doing that."
wise choice,
Very wise,
monetarily.
very wise,
Yes.
very wise, and of course I flunked out of there too.
Me too.
Because-
But it was a lot cheaper.
Oh my God!
Look at the money you saved.
I think it was a nickel back then. Jesus.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, your books were probably more expensive than the tuition at the time. But no, my drinking and partying accelerated because at that point in my life, I was feeling like a total failure.
Yeah.
I had relationships that started to go south because of my disease.
Yeah.
And
Let me ask you this. This is interesting. So, what happened to your brother?
so my brother, he continued the party.
Yeah.
Deep into his adulthood. They just kept the party going. He did all of the, that is his lifestyle. That is
Still.
that is his life.
Has it affected him in bad ways?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so. I mean, that's his story to tell.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
I just wondered if he was like some people just outgrow it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we can't, right?
Well, yeah, for us it isn't
Yeah.
an outgrowing it thing,
Yeah.
but some people are just heavy into it, and then they turn 25 or whatever, they get a job, and they just don't do it.
Well, my solution and what I thought would straighten me out was having a kid.
Right.
Oh, of course.
So 22
Yes.
years old.
That'll mature you up.
Yeah, I was like, well, I'm gonna pull myself up by the bootstraps. I got a kid now. I got to get my stuff together now.
Yeah.
And that was all your intentions.
Yeah, and that's everything I wanted to do. But the main thing that did change for me is having a kid is that you're not it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
There's somebody else on this planet because of you. And so that sense of responsibility did kick in.
Wow.
I just didn't have the tools to do anything about it. I still couldn't keep a job. I still couldn't, because everyone around me is like, well, why are you doing this? You don't have a pot to piss in. You can't keep a job. You don't have a degree.
Just put it down.
Yeah, well, exactly. As if we have a choice.
Are you married at the time? Are you living with a girlfriend?
So we were. She was my girlfriend at the time. We decided to get married, and we had 2 more kids after that. We were great parents together, and it was wonderful. But my disease took over that relationship. Basically, I did everything I could to sabotage that relationship.
Did she talk about it?
Yeah, she was. These were things that I was in such denial about my disease. Didn't even know I had one. First of all, let's start there. Didn't even know I had one, and I was in that full victim place. Everybody's screwing me over. You're a bitch. You're this, and just get off my back. Leave me the hell alone. And then I got to that stage where I was making decent money, and I'm like, listen, I'm paying the bills. Get off my back and let me drink. That's all I wanted. I just let's do that. And the scariest thing for me, and this was part of my bottom, is when they finally listen and they obey. All right, screw you, fuck you.
Yeah.
All right, I'll leave then.
Yeah.
You can have your drinking, you can have your behavior, you can have all that.
Yeah.
And I'm checking out.
Did you have any legal repercussions, any DWIs?
No,
any of that kind of
no
stuff?
DWIs, no legal. This was more of a spiritual bottom for me, and an emotional bottom for me, because the thing that I valued the most was that relationship, being the dad, being the husband, and when that was in jeopardy, that's when I panicked.
So things got dark. Things got dark for you.
Things got real dark.
So from the time that you felt them getting dark, and you said to yourself, probably like most of us do, what I really need to do is stop or slow way down.
Oh, right.
Right. And so you try stuff.
My brief solution was I'll dial back. I remember telling my daughter on her birthday that I was going to quit drinking. Her birthday's in March, my youngest daughter, and I stuck it out for about 2 months, no drinking.
Holy shit!
This is a long stretch for this guy.
You still smoking weed?
Nope, no smoking. That had trailed off into my late 20s. I stopped smoking, and this was I was strictly a beer and whiskey guy for years. That's all I was doing. But I promised I would quit drinking.
2 months of willpower.
Yeah, 2 months of willpower, but I was cheating because I was popping hydros and oxys.
Oh shit!
Yeah, because
you were in pain.
And well, the thing is, I developed the gout.
The gout.
And I'm like, when you tell me I got this old-fashioned American Revolution disease,
What the
what the hell is this?
American Revolution.
Like, what the hell?
You had a bad case of the bends.
Yeah, and so I researched it. I'm like, oh my God. So it's called the rich man. It's called the rich man's disease.
Yeah.
So you're eating too much seafood. You're eating too much red meat. Blah blah blah.
Yep.
So I isolated all those other things except for the alcohol from my diet.
Right.
Okay.
This can't be affecting it.
Well, right.
I'll just mix this tart cherry juice with some vodka instead of beer tonight.
Nice job.
How about that? That's what I'll do.
That's good for your blood pressure.
Yeah. But I'm hobbling around for 2 weeks with this, and that wasn't enough.
And it's painful from what I understand.
Oh, it's awful.
Yeah.
I mean, even just putting your socks on.
I actually know someone
awful.
who experiences that now in the program.
It's no good.
And they talk about it, and I'm like, so what happens? I remember hearing one guy, it's like, got my fucking big toe.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
Yeah. It's like getting an ice pick into that knuckle.
Yeah.
And it's uric acid, so it builds up in your system.
Yeah.
And just because you quit drinking doesn't mean you're out of the woods. This shit is still in your system. You get flare-ups. And I've actually had flare-ups since I've been sober. No alcohol in my system, but it'll be some other stupid thing that I ate. It'll be like a lobster or something like that.
Still a rich man.
Yeah, it's still a rich man.
So you're in this position where you know you need to quit. You white knuckled it for a little bit, but you know you're popping hydros. You're stuck.
Right.
So what do you do?
So I was still hiding what I was doing. I was completely full of shit.
Yeah,
I mean, I was so dishonest. I wasn't, you know, it was that point when I knew she was going to leave me. This was it. And that 4th of July of that year, she just said, go away. And I
that's
did.
when you realized how much you loved her, too,
Yeah.
right?
All
So she said, I want you out.
Yeah.
And you're
she-
like, okay.
And I didn't know, my kids were also had enough with me.
How old were they at this point?
They were late teens, early 20s at that
Okay,
point.
so they know what's going
Yeah.
on.
They've been watching Daddy drink for a long ass time.
I see.
There was no, you know, and I said, and I at that point I said, I either need to end it, go harder, or get help. I had 3 choices at that point. So I wound up going to a 3-day music festival, thinking I'm just gonna,
Excellent.
you know, I'm just gonna go out in a blaze of glory. I'm sitting there by myself, complete freaking loser. I got nobody there, and I got 2 cases of PBR with me.
Yummy.
Rich man's disease, right?
Yes, right.
PBR, baby. And I'm sitting there and I'm looking around for drugs at the festival. Some guy's passing a joint around. I do that. And so it's 3 days. This was the Friday night. The Saturday, I'm sleeping in my truck in this field. And I wake up the next day and I was done. I was just done.
Wow.
I was like, I'm done. This is I can't do this again. But then the next thought came into my head. Yeah, but now what? You're just going to quit. You're just going to not do this anymore? Because I couldn't fathom a life where I'm not guzzling alcohol on a daily basis. What do you do? How do you fill the time?
Right. What does that even look
Well,
like?
yeah, exactly. It was unfathomable.
Did you do any psychedelics at that festival?
Not at that festival, but previously.
No,
yeah.
I was just curious.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, this.
just curious.
So
it's-
you're in your truck. It's Saturday. There's 2 days left of the festival. You decide you're fucking done.
Yeah, and I remember I picked up one of the PBRs I had left. It was under the seat, and I cracked it. Just like
Just
you know,
was
just
gone.
push through, man. Let's just push through.
Maybe I'm just overthinking
Right,
this.
right. I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Dumped it out and I left.
That's
and
fucked up.
it really, I've come to realize that was my epiphany.
Yeah.
That was when God finally came to me and said, let this one up. Let this one up. Because I had had enough. And previously, I had gone back to school in the 2010s. So I went back and I met another guy at school that didn't drink and was in the program.
Okay.
And he never once said to me, you know, I think you got a problem.
Well, of course.
I think you drink too, because he and I would also do side jobs together. We were both carpenters. So, and I would be sitting there knocking him back, and he'd watch me all through that period of time, not once, not say one word to me, never point, you know. And then when I got to that point that day, I said, well, he talked about AA, but he wasn't preaching AA,
Yeah.
you know. And he said, listen, you know. So that day I texted him. I said, I'm ready. 2 words in a text. I'm ready. That next day we were at Serenity Hall for the 5:30.
Nice.
And from that point on, going to that meeting, that specific meeting on that July day, changed everything. Because I'm like, first of all, why the hell would 40 people in a room give 2 shits if I stayed sober?
That was
Right.
my thing.
You know,
too.
like
Right,
why?
Yeah.
Who is this guy? You know, screw him.
Because that's so foreign in the world. Everybody
is.
else is you're just a fuck up.
Everyone has this, you know, lone wolf sense. You got to get yours, screw everybody else. And here's this group of people that actually, it's the first time and it sounds cliche, but I did feel hope that first day.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
100%.
You
I
know.
think that is a common. I know it was for me. I think it's a common surprise to a lot of people who don't know much about recovery that they go into that meeting and then when they leave, they're kind of like, "What's the catch?"
Right.
Like,
There's
why
gotta
are
be an
these
angle.
people trying to help me so bad that people I've never said shit to are coming up to me after the meeting and shaking my hand and trying to get my number? They're giving me their number. Where's the
Right.
Because we're so used to living a transactional life.
Right.
It was always, you know, quid pro quo, everything.
Yes.
And here's something that all these people want to do is share this solution. And what we don't know, and what took me a while to actually believe, was that sharing the solution is part of the solution. My sponsor called me. I'm like, he goes, I know what you're thinking. I'm going to be bugging this guy. He goes, but you're calling me. You're helping me more than I'm helping you. And I was always like, fuck you.
I didn't understand that.
No,
either.
I'm not.
I didn't understand.
Yeah, you're
that
lying
either.
about
yeah,
that part.
Like, what is that?
Like, you're a nice guy and everything, but you're lying about that part.
Right.
But
I'm nothing but a pain in your ass
Right,
now.
right.
I called you and
Well, because that's how we were for everybody else.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that was extremely, that's monumental for me. And thankfully, I liked it enough that I hung with my friend who became my first sponsor.
Yeah.
And he laid out a pretty simple regimen for me. He said, let's get together on Sunday nights. We'll go to this meeting, And then I remember thinking like, well, that's your home group, so I have to go to the same home group as
course.
you. I have to, I have to follow this guy like a shadow,
Yeah,
right?
like he's
Just like your brother.
Right. And he, I remember asking him, this meeting is not super convenient for me. I was super nervous about this.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Oh, right.
I'm
gonna let him
I
down.
live over here. Is that a problem if I go to a different meeting? He's like, do whatever the hell you want. Just don't drink. I'm like, okay, that's pretty simple. And then when I started to get to know people in the fellowship and hearing people's stories, because earlier in our talk here, you asked if I had had any DWIs or any of those things. That was a great reason for me to use as an excuse that maybe I'm not that bad.
Sure.
Maybe I'm not that bad of an alcoholic.
Well, when you have a disease, it tells you don't have a disease.
Exactly.
Even when you're sober for a little bit,
Yeah.
it's still, even now,
Right.
it's still there going,
I remember reading Bill's story, and I'm like, Jesus,
Right.
I'm not that bad.
Right.
Like you had to put a mattress down?
Right.
and the thing is, well, you will be, though.
How many times to Towns Hospital do we need to do this?
Yeah.
But what helped me was listening to other people in the rooms
There you go.
who didn't have the DWIs, who had the job, who had their own bottom. No one gets to pick it, right? So, and getting exposure early and hearing other people that had varying degrees of issues before they got in there,
Sure.
that got them in there, it doesn't matter because it was the grace of God.
Yeah.
It's the grace of God.
And you always hear part of your story in their story. Always.
the time.
We have very common experiences with addiction and alcoholism.
We do.
Some of the consequences can be vastly different, but it's always the same mechanisms,
Of course it is.
Yeah.
We recognize those. What were some of the things early in your sobriety that, like, you found difficult or were surprising, you didn't expect, or...
Living. Because everything sort of happened at once. We talk about changing people, places, and things, right? That was kind of done for me. So all the drinking crowd and the people they were all kind of attached to an area that I used to go to with my wife at the time. And that all had an abrupt ending because of the ending of our relationship and everything else. It was just like, those people weren't in my life anymore.
Ah, yeah.
And so it was kind of an easy, but then I'm flying blind because I moved out of the house. I actually moved in with a friend of mine, also a bass player actually, and he put me up, and I'm living in his kid's bedroom on a twin bed. I'm coming from owning a house. Had all the things. I had all the things, and now I'm sleeping on some kid's mattress.
That was in my parents' unfinished basement.
Right.
Yeah.
There's your bottom, right?
Yeah.
Well, Brett always tells the story of how he went from a McMansion
I did.
to living in his parents' basement.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's...
I felt very much the same way.
Without a pot to piss in.
Right. But, and of course, it's not like I still have those responsibilities. I still have to pay those bills. And, my kids are still living there. So, it was more or less, it wasn't just getting sober. It was, what the hell, how do you live? How do you do this now?
Right.
At the time I was 45. I'm like, all right, keep it simple. I'm going to go to meetings. I'm going to go to work. I'm going to go home. And that's what I did. I went to work. I went to meetings. I went home. And it was very difficult for me to pick up the phone, other than my sponsor. I would talk to him all the time. And then for the first 6 months of my sobriety, I became a workaholic.
Oh, that's how. Yeah, sure.
So,
Yeah, keep busy, keep your mind off.
I had a deathly fear of free time.
Yep.
Any free time was terrifying.
That's
to
common.
Me. I couldn't do that.
Right.
I mean, it had helped my bank account,
Sure.
but I would say about 2 years into sobriety, I found a sweet spot where I'm like, all right, I can get this routine.
Yep.
I don't have to fill that hole with busyness.
So you found a balance.
Yeah, I don't need to be busy all the time.
Balance is hard for us, especially at first.
Well, being alone. Being alone in your own skin for that first year, for me,
Tough.
I was crawling out of it. I could not deal with it because I still hated myself. I blamed myself for all of it. And it wasn't until I got deep into that fourth step that I learned that I wasn't this piece of shit anymore. I did some things. I made some mistakes.
Right, you had some character defects.
Right. And that work changed my life just by itself.
Absolutely.
Just by itself. And then, sharing that with my sponsor at the time in the fifth step, like
And getting rid of it.
getting
right?
rid of it.
You found that soul that actually exists within you that
I
everybody
think,
does have. I believe it.
And it was the first time I could actually just sit.
Yeah.
Because at the time, I had a weird side
I'm
effect.
still amazed by that feeling.
Isn't it? It's amazing.
Still to this day.
I couldn't watch TV for the first year.
Yeah.
Couldn't sit still long enough?
It wasn't that I couldn't sit still long enough, but my routine, I was an isolator. Last year or two of my drinking, I would stay up drunk and I'd watch TV. And I'd watch the East Coast games, then I'd watch the West Coast games, and then on and on and on. That was too much of a trigger to have the TV on.
Yeah.
So I'd get home and I would read the book or I would do other things that would get me away from that, but I couldn't watch TV. It was too much of a trigger.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Was there any reconciliation in your marriage after sobriety?
I was actually able to go to her and own all the stuff.
Yeah.
Because you don't go to a 20-year marriage and say, I'm sorry. That doesn't work. That's the fart in church. You're not doing that. So what we were able to do, 2 years into my sobriety, my daughter was diagnosed with cancer, my middle daughter.
Damn.
And at that point, we had to come together again as a family. So that changed a lot of things. That created an opportunity for some reconciliation. Mm-hmm. It's not going to cure everything, and I didn't want it to be like that. But I found that what I learned in AA was true, especially about the 9th step. God will create the opportunities. Mm-hmm. You don't have to do what Dr. Bob did. You don't have to do it all in one day. They start to unfold on their own, and that was we were able to do that during that period. And and I also learned a lot about myself. There was a lot of stuff that's just like it was in relation to that relationship that I didn't like about myself. The codependency.
Yo.
Oh, that's huge, right? I need you to validate me at all times, but steps teach me I don't have to do that. I don't have to
Freaking me out, man.
I don't have to do
tell
that
my
anymore.
whole thing.
And that is impossible. You set yourself up for failure with that one.
Yeah.
I remember coming into AA and being in pain and knowing that I needed to stop drinking. And I remember looking up at the steps at one of the clubhouses. They have them on the wall. They're big. Looking at them and going, I don't even know what all this shit's for, but I don't need that. I just need to not drink. Mm-hmm. And then, like you say, during that first year, you're like, it's not enough.
It's not.
I do need to not drink. I do, but I'm crawling on my skin still. Which makes sense. I mean, we drink and it makes us feel good because we were uncomfortable in our own skin. Right. Take away the drink, we're still uncomfortable in our own skin.
Well, we never matured either.
But now we don't have that. Right, there's been no growth.
Never grow.
None.
Nobody ever
Run
came
away
to
from
us when we
everything.
were young and said, "Here's a design for living."
Right.
Yeah.
Nobody did that.
Right.
You faked it. You looked at your brother and said, "There's a design for living."
That's
I
right.
like.
I like his move.
I looked at my
to do
dad. I'm
that.
like, "There's a design for living. I'll just drink every day."
Yeah.
But once you get into the steps, I mean, you really can't tell somebody new that these steps are going to change your life.
Right.
You got to let them experience it. The thing is to get them to stick around long enough,
Right.
and then get through the tough time of not drinking. The hell of drinking, the hell of not drinking,
Right.
to motivate them to move into the steps and to guide them be a sponsor and guide them in through those steps. Because, you got 6 years in, I've got decades in, and I do the steps with people, and I'm like, holy shit, I never really realized about that step.
I love that.
That's the best part.
Yeah.
Especially as you deal with different people.
Things are
right?
still
And-
revealed all the time.
Yeah.
Even even just hearing you talk about your experience with the fourth and fifth, I'm like, yeah, that's what people don't think. They don't know that's going to happen.
And when it does, they're uncomfortable too at first because they don't recognize this feeling at first. I remember one of my sponsees was just like, I don't know what's going on right now, and I'm not too comfortable with it, but it's getting better, right? But he couldn't explain what was going on, right? That turning point, that psychic change that we started to experience.
Yeah.
So you got into the steps, right?
Well, I think going and working with other guys,
That's
intensive work with other alcoholics.
Yes.
The book says it, and that's really where
we're both huge on that.
that's where recovery really took off for me.
Me
It's
too.
when I started to help other guys
Me
and
too.
seeing that, you see that light come back on, and that's like so amazing. And it's like I'm not attaching to that outcome.
No?
You can't.
You come and this is what's available to you.
That's right.
We put the spiritual toolkit out there, but then after that, and I've really enjoyed doing the basics with people.
Yeah.
So doing the newcomer meetings where we'll even have people that have time that will go back through whether they're working with somebody else or not, and just it's like a little bump up refresher.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that's right. This is why we're doing it, and they can never be past tense for me.
Right.
This is an ongoing process. And
Yeah.
there's a step for every challenge I'm facing in life.
There is.
And so I try to get
And you
get
can
to
take that
that.
whole 12-step process to any problem, right? And you
Yeah.
can find how it works all the way through.
You
It's
plug
pretty
into
cool.
that, you'll find your answer.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
it truly is a design that's working for me.
If there's someone out there listening to this that's struggling or afraid to ask for help, like what would you want them to know?
I would want them to know that that was the most terrifying point for me. For me, that was the jumping off point. Because I was raised to be self-sufficient. I was raised to not show weakness. I was raised to tough it out, and it goes against everything that we're taught, to go and say, I give up, I need help. And making that choice was the best choice I've ever made in my life.
Yeah.
Saying, please help.
Yeah, I mean, I know, speaking from my own experience, that the point at which I was, just before I asked for help, was one of the loneliest points ever in my life. Dark and lonely. And it's where I needed to be to motivate me, to listen to whatever was going on, my higher power is putting out there, to listen to that. There are a lot of people that will fight through that and continue on a torturous, lonely, and even to death. I've had people that I've been friends with or sponsored that will do that to death.
Right.
They say, this is a point at which I will not cross. I will not surrender and ask for help. And I had a guy in the program, and he had time. He kind of kept bouncing in and out of meetings. I don't think he really went out and drank at this time. But he's like, boy, and he was a tough guy. He was like a steel worker. And he's like, that whole surrender thing, he goes, I can't do that.
Tough nut.
But I'm like, it has nothing to do with being a fucking tough guy
Right.
or a failure or a pussy. It's about reality and doing something for yourself.
Yep.
Right.
It's actually, and I said this to him, and he kind of gave me a blank look. I go, it takes strength.
It does.
And he was
Oh, it sure does.
boy, he didn't like that.
Whoa, yeah. Yeah.
I found at that point where because that's what I did. I got on my knees and I asked for help. I didn't know who I was talking to at
Sure.
the time.
Doesn't matter.
And it didn't matter because it was answered. And that darkest, shittiest point of my life is right where God wanted me to be. And that's where he came.
Yeah.
And I can't explain it any other way. And it may not be the same experience for a lot of people. But for me, I needed precisely that point where I was at my blackest, bleakest, like you were describing, that that gave that little bit of opening for God to enter.
The gift of desperation.
Yeah, it really is.
And boy, it doesn't feel like a gift when you're there. I'll tell you that.
No, you think you're going to die,
Yeah.
or you want to.
Yeah.
You know,
oh my
one
God.
of the,
I remember sitting on the edge of that bed, rocking back and forth all night long, night with
But
that
you know,
stuff.
I think the majority of us, if not all of us, we're motivated by pain.
Yep.
You know, we wouldn't have made the change if it wasn't painful.
Right,
And for some people, even that's not enough,
right.
which just blows my mind.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, it is true.
like how bad does it got to get? Well, you'd be surprised.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you go to a
thankfully
bunch
we
of
were able to
wakes and you
find it.
figure it out, right?
Yeah, right.
So we're the lucky
So I do
ones.
have one more question
Yes.
because you alluded to a couple things. What would you say? And you've got what you said in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got almost 7 years in. What would you say to somebody that went through the steps and is just feeling kind of
Service.
Yeah.
Get out there and help somebody.
Yeah.
Get out there. Because there's never a shortage
That's for sure.
of people that could use the message. Not that I need to go out and shove it down somebody's throat, but hey, I'm a meeting guy. If I don't get to a meeting on a daily basis, I feel a little weird. Today, this kind of counts as my meeting.
Well, it is.
We're-
It
Well,
definitely
actually, Brett and I are going to the
Yeah.
7:30. You're welcome
Yeah,
to join us.
great. But there's never a shortage of people coming back, especially this time of year.
Yep.
You got the dry January people, and then
But I don't think I can do that. I'm not good enough. You know, what do I have to offer?
right. That's the thing. Everyone has something they can
Yes,
offer.
we do.
Everyone has something, and it's never. I think you do want to carry the message, not the mess. So I mean, going into a meeting and spilling your drunkalog and getting into the good old days, you're
Yeah,
not
right, that's
really helping there. But again, it's. I go through periods where, maybe I don't have much to share, and if there is a topic that I don't have experience with, you're not going to hear from me.
Yeah,
Really, that's
excellent.
just
Excellent.
and that's a hard thing sometimes. But if somebody's coming back, I can talk to them
Yeah.
because although I haven't relapsed, I know that pain, and it's a miracle that anybody makes it back.
Yeah. True.
It's a miracle anybody makes it back.
It is, and I made it back a bunch of times, and I'm working with somebody right now who is, I think, going to come back at 7:30. I'm hoping they
That's
show up.
great.
Hoping
Yeah.
they show up.
That's an answer to a prayer.
It is. It really is. So,
Yeah.
well, Ian,
stuff.
thanks so much for coming on.
This has been great. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it goes by so fast, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
it does.
Yeah.
It sure
Seriously.
does.
I know, and you know what's funny is when you hear this, you'll be going, "Oh, I should have said." Oh, I want, and we should get everybody like a second one.
I know.
So. Anyways, until next time on the Glum Lot Podcast, I'm Mark.
I'm Brett.
As we wrap up another episode of the Glum Lot Podcast, we want to extend our heartfelt gratitude to each and every one of you who tuned in today. Navigating the path to recovery from alcohol and other substances is a journey filled with challenges, triumphs, and self-discovery. Remember, we're not affiliated with Alcoholics Anonymous, but we're here to provide a safe space for open conversations about the complexities of recovery. Your stories, courage, and resilience inspire us and our listeners alike. If you or someone you know is on the transformative journey, know that you're not alone. Join us next time as we continue to explore the diverse facets of recovery. Until then, stay strong, stay connected, and remember that each day is a step towards a brighter, sober tomorrow. Thank you for being part of the Glum Lot community.